Well, you mentioned Kevin Hart. I don't know if I want to go into this right now.
Oh,
Or
don't do it. Don't do it.
Celtics,
Don't do it.
like, what did you think of All-Star Weekend this week, Justin? Justin Turpin. I gotta specify the Justins here.
You haven't talked to
But
me.
what did you
about
think of 2025 All-Star Weekend?
When they played basketball, the basketball was good. The problem is they didn't do a lot of playing basketball. I saw the Reddit posts, and I don't know how accurate it was. I didn't go back and time it myself, but in the 3-hour span, they played 42 minutes of basketball. That's insane. Like, what are we doing? And I love the TNT crew. I love Shaq and Ernie, what they've done for the game. And I grew up watching those guys and still love watching those guys. And to give them a tribute in the middle of the game when they're not going anywhere, they're essentially just changing teams. The show is still going to be on TV. It's just not going to be on TNT. So what is the point of stopping the game to honor these people when they're going to be doing the same exact thing next year, just at a different desk? Like, it made no sense to me. And the thing is, too, it's like, yeah, they want to give credit to the crew and everyone that produced the show. They're keeping the TNT producers for the show. Like, it made no sense to me. Like, the more you read into it, the more, it just made no sense. Absolutely zero sense.
Well, it was frustrating because I was confused. Like, I vividly paid attention to the All-Star game, and I was sitting there saying, where the hell is Cade Cunningham? I advocated for Cade Cunningham to be an All-Star. I barely saw him play. That's the thing about this All-Star format I just didn't like, is you barely saw anybody. You really didn't. Like, you didn't see many minutes from much people because it wasn't timed. I hate the target score. But not to get too in-depth about the All-Star weekend because we have, other topics to reach on. But it's like the NBA, and Michael Hawley on BST said this. He really said this really well. He goes, you know what? When Draymond said this format sucks, he's right. But guess what? At the end of the day, it's you, Draymond Green. It's the players. The players want to put effort in. We could do a target score of 40. We could do a 48-minute game, East versus West. We could do a 1v1 tournament. Guess what? In the end, it doesn't matter because if the players aren't going to play, they're not going to try. It doesn't matter what format we do it in. It's not going to work. And this All-Star weekend, I've been a fan for a very long time. This, in my opinion, was the worst All-Star weekend I have ever watched. And if it wasn't for Mac McClung dunking over Ikea, I really think this is overall.
I also had a problem with that, too.
You didn't like the Mr. Beast gimmick?
No,
that might have been the best part, honestly. The buzzer beater on that kid making the half-court shot.
I have never seen such
thrown in the money
on players' face. I thought Gilgeous-Alexander was going to jump over that counter and punch Kevin Hart in the face. I thought Damian Lillard was going to punch Mr. Beast in the face, tell him to back the F up. It was a mess. In my opinion,
this Mr. Beast cat anyway? Like, he's on the Hornets jerseys. I know he's a YouTuber, but I've never come across any of his content.
He's taken.
Got to go into a brand new YouTube account. First video, Mr. Beast just has the algorithm.
Is it worth a search?
It's modern day Willy Wonka. That's the best way I can describe it.
They're using him to attract the Gen Z audience, basically.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It was a very entertainment, a very business thing. Like, it didn't feel like it was about the players. It didn't feel like it was any competition. It was just entertainment. I thought what Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama did was embarrassing for the league. I didn't think that helped them in any way, shape, or form. I just think it was an atrocious weekend, if you want me to be honest with you.
I'm going to agree with you, though, Justin. The players did it to themselves. At the end of the day, right? Like I'm with you guys at every point. I thought it sucked. I thought the dunk contest was actually pretty entertaining. Between I think Stephon Castle did well, Matas was bad, but I thought overall 3-point contest is what it is, right? But at the end of the day, the main event Sunday, the All-Star game. I think the NBA was like, okay, well, we can't put the faith in the players to, make this thing work. We got to kind of take it into our own hands. And in the process, I think I'd rather watch 48 minutes of pickup of
paint dry.
Of paint drives and 43s.
I think you're right. They try to make it more of an entertainment thing or in a TV show than a game. But the problem is the game was actually good. Like, they actually had competition for once in the last 6 years. So they kind of screwed themselves.
I said if anybody should get the MVP award, it should have been Wembanyama because he was playing with passion, like he was playing for real. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Again, the players did it to themselves. I get it; they're trying to relate to the audience and the younger group, reaching out with Mr. Beast and giving the TNT crew love. But I just think from the players' perspective, it's like you can complain all you want, but you kind of did this to yourselves.
100%. 100%.
And, I can never do what they do. But at the same time, like, remember the All-Star games? Like, I just watched a highlight. It's like, I believe it was Michael Jordan's last All-Star game. And Kobe Bryant got fouled shooting a three. And Zeke was one of the All-Star coaches. He's saying, Kobe missed the free throws, so Jordan could win his last All-Star game. Kobe looked at it like, no, I'm not missing the free throws. And he made him won the game. It's like that. We're missing that. We really are missing that type of competition, and I don't know if we're going to find it anytime soon.
Well, it's awful. I mean, really, the NBA is trying to solve problems in which they don't have. Their problems are with the ratings they want to solve with All-Star Weekend, but we said on the All-Star Weekend special, the ratings don't really come from what is put out there at All-Star Weekend. It's about the storylines that exist in the NBA. It's about the faces. It's really about the rivalries that exist within the NBA in the regular season, not at the All-Star game. And the All-Star game, they're ultimately always going to have. I don't think it's to a point where they're just going to take it away or do anything, because I've heard that suggestion out there. But
Missoula wants
I liked.
He wants
Right. Yeah, I liked what Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco actually said about this. It's the fact of the players, for some reason, don't care about the actual game when it comes about. They don't actually bring that competitive spirit. Every once in a while, we'll see it. Really, this decade, the 2 years in which we really saw it was 2020 and 2022. That's when those games with a target score ended. Like, it was very, very close, and both teams were trying to make a stop and make a bucket down the stretch. But outside of that, I think that's really what the All-Star game is going to bring, is the fact that every other year you're going to have a good game, and some of these games are going to be blowouts. We see that in the NBA every single night. You might have an 8-game slate where they're all blowouts, and one's great. And that's what we just see in basketball. But I like what they said in terms of the players. They don't play within the game. They're not competitive within the actual All-Star game. Yet they'll complain when they don't make the game and be mad about it. It's a little double standard there, where it's like, okay, it's an honor to make the All-Star game, and they complain about it. Yet when they get there, they actually go and ruin the product by not playing in the game. But again, like I said, there's been years in which we've seen good games and years in which we haven't seen good games. But the fixes are simple for the NBA this All-Star Weekend. They went all the way over the top. I mean, you guys already pretty much said it, where on Sunday, the amount of basketball that was actually played within a 3-hour time slot was actually laughable. I mean, it was completely laughable. There were more commercials, there were more shenanigans than anything but basketball. And really, this is simple. It's on Friday night, have the Rising Stars game. Play it as a normal game. There's no reason to split it into a tournament. We already talked about it on the special, how the NBA just loves tournaments and March Madness and all this nonsense, but it's the NBA. It's not March Madness. It's not college basketball. There's no reason to be putting tournaments out everywhere. They've worked elsewhere, say in the NBA Cup and maybe the play-in tournament, but at All-Star Weekend, there's just no need for them. But Friday night, just play the Rising Stars game. Saturday, skills challenge, that'll never be a thing. I'm not ever worried about that or what that looks like. 3-point contest, put real 3-point shooters in the 3-point contest.
What?
I forgot who said something about this. I think it was Alex Hoops on YouTube, but he was saying, it might have been Rusty Buckets, one of those two. They were saying that the 3-point contest, there's a little bit less of a specialty to it because it used to be more of a novelty in the game of basketball. Less guys actually shot the 3-point ball, and those were the players which were put in the 3-point contest. But then this year, we kind of had just a couple of volume shooters in there, and maybe not even the best shooters on their team. Still all right competition. I didn't really have a huge problem with it. Dunk contest. What I think the NBA actually messed up with this year is that Stephon Castle was actually a great dunker and put on a great performance, but it didn't matter because you had Mac McClung put up yet another generational type of dunk contest performance.
The
and he's not even an NBA player. So you actually had an
G-leaguer.
NBA player who was willing to show up and compete in Stephon Castle and make a moment for himself, a guy that could potentially turn into an all-star later on down the line. You look at some of these other guys who were in the dunk contest in the past, DeMar DeRozan, Giannis Antetokounmpo. They were in the dunk contest before they were all-stars. That might be Stephon Castle in the future. They actually had a good dunker come out of the NBA ranks, and instead it really didn't matter because nobody thought he could beat Mac McClung. I mean, everybody was thinking, oh, Mac McClung just get another 50 here and take away your three-peat. The Chiefs couldn't do it this year. Well, Mac McClung's going to do it in the year of 2025. And that's kind of the problem with the dunk contest right now is the unknown players like Andre Jackson Jr. and rookie Matas Buzelis. And then you have Stephon Castle, who's also a rookie there. And then you have them faced up. You have them facing off with a G Leaguer who is there to dunk. He's there to win. And ultimately, these guys don't even have a chance against him. But then Sunday, you guys kind of already said it with the tournament style and the shenanigans. I mean, really just play East-West 48 minutes. There's no reason to be making a tournament out of it. The NBA tried to do way too much in order to fix their ratings. But that's kind of my next question here to you, Justin. And of course, Justin Turpin here on the bottom. And we'll look. Am I pointing the right way to you guys right now?
Yeah,
we're doing this here on the show.
Justin
and Justin here. My question is ultimately, we've talked about the NBA ratings on here before. Do you ultimately see the ratings as an issue right now? And what do you actually see as the main issue to the NBA ratings? Because obviously All-Star Weekend, they tried to fix the All-Star ratings, but did a horrible job to it. There's been multiple conversations about what the NBA can actually do to fix the ratings, but do you actually see it as an issue at this point in time? And if it is, what do you see as the main issue and what is there to do in order to fix it in your mind?
I don't necessarily see it as an issue because it keeps fluctuating. They have good weeks and they have bad weeks. So I don't really think it's an issue, but my biggest problem with it is just the accessibility. I mean, not everyone has TNT. Not everyone has ESPN. Not everyone has these local providers. When you're looking at, say, the NFL, everyone has Fox, everyone has CBS, everyone has NBC. You can access all these games and all these channels. With the NBA, you have to jump through all these hoops and bounds to get there. That's the biggest thing to me is you can't just turn it on a regular station. Like, yeah, the NFL has problems with it too. Like they have the Netflix games on Christmas, but for the most part, everyone has Netflix as well. They had like a Peacock game and they had the Thursday Night Football on Amazon, whatever it is. So they have some of them, but it's definitely not as bad as the NBA. Like it's so hard to find some of these games. Like TNT, you have to pretty much have cable for. Not many of the streaming services have it. I know for sure Fubo doesn't. I don't think Sling did either. So it's hard to find it. So I think that's a problem. I also think a lot of people stream now illegally, which is a part of it as well. Like people are illegally streaming. I'm sure we all have somebody that does that. I do as well. So I think that's a part of it. Like, especially people like the younger people, we're not paying for TNT. We're not paying for ESPN Plus, whatever it is. We're just going to stream the thing. And I'm not going to name the sites so we don't get in trouble here, but we're just going to, we know where to find them.
We're talking hypotheticals here.
Right. I would never do such a thing. Not me.
You just admitted to it.
Yeah, not me. No, not me. But like, everyone's streaming it. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, right. I agree with you. Also, like football's one day a week. You can't compete with that numbers wise. You can't compete with that.
Football, period. Like,
yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Supply and demand.
I mean, we're on the topic of ratings right now, but I did just think about this question when we were talking about the All-Star game, when it talks about competing and all that. Has the NBA ever done something like what the MLB used to do, where it's like, oh, like if the East wins, they get home court advantage during the finals? Have they ever done anything like that?
No, because they've always had it as the top record in the league.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying they should try something with the All-Star game, like a reward or something. Like obviously everybody plays for the cash nowadays, but they should try something. I know it might be weird, like it's like, oh, that year the 8th seed in Miami Heat gets to the final, it's like, oh, they earn home court advantage. So, but like just the idea of like a reward for the winner, I don't know if that'd make them play for something. But that was just a past thought on that past conversation. I didn't know if the league ever tried anything.
Is these guys, the All-Stars for the most part, are the Supermax guys. So what is an extra $2 million going to do for those guys? If that's what you're saying,
I don't know if the cash. I don't know if the cash.
Just ship them over here. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Hey, that's great. That's great for someone like a Luke Cornett, like an Xavier Tillman, those minimum guys, right? Like that's great. But For everyone else,
You did not just call Luke Cornett a minimum guy. We're not.
He is a minimum. He's on a minimum deal. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah, but he's way better than that. He just dominated Karl Anthony Towns.
No. But by the salary, he is a minimum player.
Okay.
I mentioned him as an all-star is what I did actually.
Okay.